Hello everyone, welcome to the online lecture series of vehicle testing and homologation. I am Milan Trivedi, professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. And this is our 20th lecture. Since last two lectures, we are discussing the 7th chapter of VTH, that is active and passive safety testing. Up till now, we had seen the comparison between these two types of safety system, that is active and passive safety system. Later on, we had already started with the different kind of active and passive safety system testing. In the last class, we had already seen the test which is related to the wheel ring. Now let us proceed further. Our next test is the fire resistance test. Now this test is actually in order to ensure that fire won't happen, we are conducting this particular test. But that is an active safety aspect. Consider the passive safety aspect. Say for example, fire has already been raised out. So what to do or how to have that kind of precaution by which there can be a minimum impact. So that is a passive precaution. So both the things will be ensured with the help of this kind of fire resistance test. So let's begin, or let us first of all understand what is the work plan of that, how we need to do the particular fire resistance test, what matters a lot. See, the very first aspect in the case of fire resistance test is the material flammability test. Whatever material we are using in the case of the automobile, individually we need to analyze that at what particular temperature does it catches the fire, or how much resistance it offers to the fire. The second aspect, that is how the fire origins, what is the real cause behind the fire, how does the fire exactly happens, and if it is happening, how does it propagates means how does it expands from this particular spot to say for end spot of the vehicle, how is the propagation of the fire. So we need to think in that particular aspect whenever we talk about the fire resistance test. And last and the important work plan, that is the passenger compartment zone, that we are also calling it as a safety cage or safe zone area, because whenever the fire happens, the ultimate goal of the fire resistance test is to ensure the safe working condition of the passengers and the occupants in the car. So we need to ensure that if fire propagates from any of the sides, how much time does it take to get enter into that particular passenger compartment zone. Okay, so this is the normal work plan whenever we talk about the fire resistance test. Now let us understand how to evaluate the first one, that is the material flammability test. Now this kind of material flammability test we are doing particularly taking just a prototype of the material or just a sample of material which we are using in a car. That particular sample would be kept under the burner. This is a one kind of Bunsen burner, and we will evaluate that how much time does it take to propagate the fire from one end to another end, or at what particular temperature does it catches up the fire. So that will be evaluated for all the materials which we are using in the automobile, right from the upholstery to all the plastics, that all catches up the fire. But we need to evaluate with this particular aspect that at what particular temperature does it catches fire and how does it propagates the fire, right? So that is the first way to judge the propagation of the fire or the development of the fire. Just take the sample material and do this particular testing. Second is the most important aspect. We need to think that how does that fire happens, what is the origin source of the fire. Now this can be achieved by having number of figures from the past, as well as evaluating the fire case incidents. We come to this kind of conclusion that in most of the fire incidents, 61% of the fire is from the engine compartment. That engine part, that is actually having the combustion process, so obviously that is having a source of heat. So from that particular source of heat, there is a chances of fire development, and that is in a huge percentage. The second biggest source is in the passenger compartment due to some problem, maybe in the passenger compartment itself, by using some auxiliaries fire catches up. So that is again the second part, but this is the most dangerous aspect because passengers are sitting in this passenger compartment and the fire has been raised up. So that can lead to the even fatality case. The third origin is said as 4% in the cargo or the trunk area. If some of the luggage or the cargo you are keeping in the trunk part, which is having a tendency to catch up the fire, which is having a tendency to get ignited fast, and if it's getting some that kind of source and it catches up the fire, then it is accountable at 4%, and 1.7 percentage is from the fuel tank. Fuel itself is a combustible material. If that part is catching the fire, then obviously whole vehicle can be busted out in certain fraction of minutes. So that is a critical part. No doubt we ensure a lot of safety in that particular aspect, but this cannot be ignored. So we are undergoing through this kind of case study from which we evaluate that these are the different sources of the fire, and we will utilize this particular data in order to do the particular fire resistance test. Now, obviously, you will see that this is not summing up to 100%, but the rest percentage of fire development is from some other areas. Now, third was in our work plan was the passenger compartment fire development, right? But from this particular above data, we will try to develop the fire purposefully in the case of prototype of the vehicle, and we will see that how much time does it takes to travel that particular fire from one end to the passenger compartment. Say for example, we will purposefully ignite the fire at the engine side area, right? Then we will evaluate that how much time does it take to reach that particular fire smoke to the passenger part. From that particular data, we will get the idea that this much time will be given or will be there with the passenger to get escape from the fire incident, right? Similarly, tests are also conducted by igniting the fire at the exhaust region. Then spillage of liquid has also been taken in the this kind of fire resistance test. They spill the fluid purposefully at the ground. They light up the liquid and they develop the fire purposefully. But the ultimate aim is the similar, that we need to find out the escape time, that how much time does it get and passenger to leave that particular area. Normally 1 or 2 minutes time duration is enough to escape from that particular zone. So that is all about the fire resistance test. Now let us understand the second test, and that is a seat anchorage test. Basically the points at which the seat belts are tightened up, that is the seat anchorage. Now it has been a short question in the GTO for 1 or 2 times, that as per category M and N vehicles, what is the limit of seat anchorage? See, for both category M and category N, we are having this precaution or specification that we must have a two lower belt anchorage that is present in the waist region and one upper belt which we mount on the above the shoulder part, right? This is the presence required in the case of seat anchorage. We must have a three anchorage of the seat belt in order to have proper grip. Now, what we actually need to do, or what we need to taste to in order to check the strength of the seat anchorage. Whenever we talk about the seat anchorage, and when it does it plays a major role. See, whenever there is a front collision, obviously you will be pushed forward, right, due to the momentum. Now, whenever you are pushing forward, there is some chances of collision of your head with the steering pad. So, this particular seat belt, due to the pre-tension present in that, it will take your move towards back. But at the same time, seat anchorage should also hold that belt properly. Otherwise, if it is breaking down at that particular time, then it's of no use, right? So we first thing we need to measure is the durability. Whatever force, resisting force which has been developed at the anchorage part, that must be at least withstand the force which is achieved during the collision, right? So we need to develop that it is durable or not. We need to have force analysis of that particular part. Second is the dust resistance. We need to ensure that whenever we are putting the end part of our seat belt in that anchorage zone, right? So that part is open. So open part is always subjected that this dust particle gets stuck in between. And if it is stuck in between, every now and then it will reduce the efficiency of that particular part. So we need to ensure that there is a minimum resistance to that. Third one is the corrosion resistance. Obviously, the material part matters a lot in this particular aspect. We need to use that particular material so that it does not get corroded at the earliest time, right? And the next thing is the heat and cold exposure. That is obviously subjected to uh, different weathering conditions. So we need to have a safety of heat and cold exposure as well. Next is the buckle opening. Whenever we are pressing the switch, buckle opens on, right, of the seat belt. That must be properly opened. So that mechanism also matters a lot. So this kind of testing we need to do whenever we are talking about the seat anchorage test. Right? We need to write about this particular 5 aspect. Next one is the most important and the interesting one, that is airbag testing or safety bag testing. In order to understand this particular test, we need to first of all go through the pattern of this opening of the airbag. Actually, airbag plays a role whenever there is a front collision. Nowadays, for the side impact collision also, we are having the airbags, right? But let us first of all understand in the case of front collision, right? If car is driving and suddenly accident happens, then uh, airbag come out from the horn pad if it is in the driver's side, and if it's in the co-driver side, then from the dashboard we are having that provision that from that particular end one balloon type of bag will be evacuated, and that will protect the face part of the driver or co-driver, right? But first of all, let us understand the mechanism that how does it operates. See, if sudden crash happens, then this particular crash sensor will get activated. Whenever it gets activated, it sends one signal to this particular zone inflator, right? This inflator will open the airbag, which will fill that particular airbag with the nitrogen, right? Airbag is present in the steering wheel. But how does that nitrogen develops? The first question arises that how to develop that particular nitrogen, because it is not that much easy to store in that particular zone. So we are not storing the nitrogen gas in that particular raw form, right? This bag is normally, this airbag is normally just in the form of fabrics, and we are just keeping that in a just a layer form, right? And that is pressed inside the horn pad. Now, beneath this particular area, we are having the inflator, right? So, whenever the crash happens, it will send the signal to the inflator. Now, what this inflator do is, this inflator will ignite this particular zone. This particular inflator is having igniter, sodium azide, and nitrogen with them. So this particular mixture, sorry, on igniting the sodium azide, that nitrogen gas will be liberated, right? So that nitrogen gas will liberated in the fraction of second, and that will actually protect the particular driver or co-driver. But the thing we need to understand is what we need to test whenever we talk about this kind of airbag testing. We need to check the timing of opening of the bag. Whenever the crash happens, from that particular time, it just have a fraction of second only to open the bag. So that timing is proper or not, that we need to ensure, right? The second thing is the position testing. We need to ensure that the bag which is opening out from that particular horn pad, that is in perfect position or not. If it is somewhat misaligned, if it is going left or right, then also it is of no use. So we need to ensure that another aspect, that is the position of the bag opening. The third one is the pressure testing. Obviously, this matters a lot because it must be having a proper pressure. It not be having more than the required pressure, otherwise it will burst that the nylon bag which we are using. Then also if it is of no use, and if it's under pressure, then obviously the fusion effect you are requiring with that will not be achieved. So the optimum pressure is required, that we also need to ensure. And last aspect is the instrumentation. We are using number of things in this particular opening of safety airbag. So all in line, working proper or not, that also we need to ensure, right? So that is all about this safety bag testing. We are keeping up to this in this particular lecture. Still, we are going to continue about different tests in our next lecture. Thanks for watching.